a friends with benefits situation, kind of like an open relationship too, where you're with that person, you know, you're conscious that you're sleeping with that person, but then at the same time, you know they're also sleeping with somebody else, and it's kind of, and then no matter how much you try to think, oh, it's just me, it's not, and then you become jealous.
What if you fall in love with the other person?
Yeah, exactly, and then you get involved, you get very involved emotionally, so I don't know. I don't know. It does work for some people though, and that's the bizarre part. It does work for some people. Well, some people do agree that it does spice up their sex life, or it actually has improved their relationship to be able to see other people. But it's like, well, then why are you in a committed relationship? You're just lonely and you want to be able to go to somebody at the end of the day, you know, because you're okay having all these other people, and you're both okay sleeping with all these other people, but you love coming back to that feeling home that base. You have one, you know, you have, exactly, you love coming back to home base.
Yeah.
So it does work for people, you know, people do feel that way.
Well, and there's people though that say that sex is just sex, and actually you'll hear that more from males and women get more emotionally involved.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
So it was just sex. So I guess if you see it from that kind of context, it was just sex. Yeah. It's probably a lot easier to be able to participate in that. What do you think, Kendra?
Going from your point of view, I discussed this with my husband, and the first thing he said about open relationships, he's like, it's selfish. Like, he's just like, it's pure selfish. That's all I have to say. And I believe the same thing. We would never agree to an open relationship. We think it's cheating, and I don't know why anyone would agree to it unless they're bored, or they might think of their partner as just kind of like a best friend, but there's no real emotion in it. I want to keep my best friend, I want to live with them, but let's have sex with some other people. Let's make it fun. For us, the physical part of a relationship is what keeps us together.
So intimate.
If there's nothing there, if there's no sex involved, or if there is but with other people, it's just you don't have a committed relationship anymore. So the emotional part of it is what I believe creates a committed relationship. When there's nothing there no more is when people are like, okay, let's just look for something else.
So emotional commitment for you then is true exclusivity sexually, not non-sexually. Okay. Well, and I guess there would be others that would argue with that you can be close and be with that person and be involved sexually with someone else.
You can, but I think it's more like as a best friend. Like, you can be with a partner and they're your best friend, and you can raise your kids and you can have a life. But then I feel like the physical part is what we're created. We're all created to be with one other person.
Your soulmate.
Yeah. So if you don't have that physical part between you and your partner, you really aren't committed. You're just kind of friends, and it's easy for one person just to go out and have sex because they're like, oh, well, I have my best friend at home, and they agree with, we don't really have any sexual commitment, so.
That's part of what makes marriage special, is the exclusivity of it. Like, you just have eyes for me, and I just have eyes for you, and we love each other in that intimate part, which sex is a big part of marriage. I don't want to share that. I mean, maybe some people do, but I agree, there's a lot of men that just feel sex is just sex. It's just what it is. It's not making love. But for a woman, when you give your body to someone, your heart goes with that to a certain extent, and it is making love. That's a very sacred part of what you've given. That's a gift that you've given to someone.
It's from having sex to making love, to be committed to your soulmate.
I guess maybe the definition, one of the things that I point out to individuals is it depends what kind of relationship you want.
Yeah.
What you want.
You know, because the commitment can be in many levels. I can be committed to you. I'm committed to you, and we're going to commit to having sex with others. So you can, at some level, you can have a relationship. You can have a relationship and not deal with issues. That's another relationship and commitment. You know, and just throw everything under the rug and just pretend everything's great. Or you can have a meaningful relationship where you are just, you are exclusive to the other and you're honest and open. I don't know, does consenting, is that the difference from having an affair versus if I'm consenting, if my husband and I are consenting to have sex with others, then that's not an affair. If I'm not consensual, then it is an affair. Is there a difference? Because I think that some people
Consider working long term. You know, if someone wants to start a relationship that way and they're unexclusive with each other, that may work short term, but long term, over years and years, I can't see it working ever. Because
the question you had, I think if you know about it, then it's not an affair, and if you don't know about it, it is.
Well, if you agree.
I would think so.
Consensual is agreeing.
Yes.
I'm agreeing.
Then it's
so
not
therefore,
an affair?
Yeah. Well, if I'm agreeing that my husband can go,
That's definitely not
it's consensual.
Yeah.
then it's consensual and it's not an affair.
Exactly.
But however, our emotions don't agree. That's the trouble.
Yeah.
That's the
head is here, the heart is
Yeah, and I
not.
think that's the difference with our young people. Like, it should be fun. Everybody, the media is portraying it out there. It's not what you're getting. Everybody's getting that sort of, where you look, movies, whatever. It should be. We're pushing ourselves to the next level. And the other one is traditional thinking, biases, values. We're pushing all those. And if we push all those, then we should be able to do anything. And there's no parameters then. I mean, what will a relationship look like with no parameters? We just agree to everything.
Yeah.
Well, Hollywood isn't reality, in my opinion. Is what happens on TVs and movies, and you look at all the big movie stars.
Yeah.
How many are exclusive to each other? It's very few. Seem to be in a committed relationship for many years.
Yeah.
They try, and then it's just go on to someone else because it's the lifestyle, and that's not reality. It's the movies. It's what people want to go and see on the screen and go, it's not for me. So.
I like the word that Veronica used with selfish.
Yeah,
because
I do too.
That's an excellent.
If I bring it back to what I said before about having a friends with benefits situation, which could be similar to an open relationship because you're just having a buddy on the side, right? So it is selfish because you're fully doing it just for yourself. You don't care if the other person's involved. But then it is tough once you're so involved with this other person that you become emotionally attached, and then that just that can ruin the actual committed person, the person that you're actually committed to, right?
Yes.
And I think that's a huge difference. What I'm seeing is logic. A plus B equals C.
Yes.
And especially when we're using logic and analyzation to explain emotions. Logic and emotions cannot be explained on the same level. We need to work with things emotionally at an emotional level. That's the way it works. Like my head will say, well, it should work. Well, it doesn't work. Or I've moved on. I think we talked about that today. I've moved on. Get over it. Move on. Well, I'm stuck. Emotionally, I'm stuck. I'm still hurting. And I can't move on where you are. It's over for me. Well, it's not over for me. And so those are the issues. So can we have a meaningful relationship and be open? I guess that's really the question. I think that's the question that people are exploring today. Can we have a meaningful open relationship? Can we have a meaningful open relationship?
No.
No. I don't agree that you could.
I also say no.
Yeah.
Okay. I can say no, but then looking at because I watch documentaries on swingers, because there's absolutely no lies between a relationship, because they know exactly where they're at all times. It works for them, so I don't know.
I think that's a small part of the population.
It is either really small percentage.
Yeah, we are talking about a small group of population, because I believe with one interview I was listening on the CBC that over 81, we're using the American stats, I think it was over 81% people still believe in traditional monogamous with exclusive sexuality within that relationship versus the small percentage that are exploring the openness. So I think, people certainly have the right to choose the relationship that they want. I think that what people don't want, and I would imagine in the smaller sector, that they don't want our traditional values and beliefs to be imposed on them. At the same time, we're also asking the same. If you're traditional and have very strong values and you want a relationship, where it's true exclusivity, that their views won't necessarily be imposed on the traditional person as well. So certainly people can practice whatever they want to practice, and then I guess we just have to work out the issues as they arise. But I do believe that it's difficult for relationships that start opening themselves up, and a lot of issues that weren't there before will be there. And actually I see a lot of similar issues that take place in affairs, and the questioning and the paranoia,
yes.
and even the security. I mean, with an affair, the security of the relationship is gone. And even though I agree on an intellectual level that I want to be open in a relationship, I think that security also, again, that's my opinion as well, does get worn down as well. However, we're certainly interested, we've put that on the floor. I know it's a controversial question. We certainly are interested. Do you agree or disagree with some of our comments? And if you believe open relationships help and you can be committed in that relationship, we certainly want to hear from you. And if you believe otherwise, we certainly, if you agree with the traditional that we need to be truly in a monogamous, committed sexually relationship, that's the way to go, let me know. I'll be interested to hear from you. So welcome back. We're on our last question of our panel today. It's how can we achieve happiness and fulfillment in a relationship? So whether we are married or in a common law, or even in relationships too, how can we achieve happiness and fulfillment? Do you have some comments there, Ron?
Well, for us, how we achieve happiness and fulfillment in our relationship is to be emotional, and we have things like cuddle time. Mm-hmm. We like to be homebodies, so we feel like if we spend a lot of time during the week, we make time for ourselves. And then when stressful situations come up in our lives, mm-hmm. such as financial or anything like that, kind of do not try to argue with each other, mm-hmm. and then kind of talk through it. Mm-hmm. So how do we fulfill that? It's just pure communication, basically, what we learned. And
emotional communication. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a Spanish background, so I'm always yes. very emotional. But it doesn't matter. We need emotions in our relationship.
Yeah, yes. We are both the same culture, so that's why we both click.
Yeah.
And the same type of family standards. So
good.
That helps.
Well, I would hope that when I'm in a relationship that is a committed one, that I'd be able to communicate with that person. And communicate effectively, because I think communication is just one part of it, but the way you communicate. Mm-hmm. Some people don't know how to communicate, mm-hmm. and they might share their emotions and their feelings with each other, but it ends up in an argument. So knowing how to be able to keep your communication to where you're listening to each other and you're actively listening, mm-hmm. and trying to feed off of each other on what can make your relationship better, how to feel more fulfilled in a relationship, that'll help so much. Mm-hmm. And then even the emotional side too. I'm very emotional and outgoing, and I need someone who's the same. I need someone who I don't feel I would feel fulfilled in my relationship if I don't feel like I'm babysitting the person I'm with, I guess, be able to go to an event and I don't have to, where's whoever I'm with, just make sure that they're able to kind of have their own life aside. I'm a very independent person, and I think that independence is important, mm-hmm. even when you're with somebody, mm-hmm. because I like having my things that I do and being able to be busy with my stuff. But if the other person is always relying on them being, making sure that I include them in what I'm doing and stuff like that, I don't know if that would always be feasible. So being able to be understanding of the other person's time, we'll have our time together, but then there's going to be times where I have a meeting or I have to go do something, mm-hmm. and the other person does too. They want to go out with their friends and have a guys' night or something like that. I think that's also really important too, being able to enjoy doing a lot of things together, but also being able to step back and be like, you know what, totally go have fun with your friends. That's fine. You need to have your friends too, kind of thing. So, for me, it would be obviously communication and being able to accept other people, accept each other, exactly, yeah. and respect the other person's time. Mm-hmm. My top 3 things in life, just in